everybody. We are sitting here in front of Boardwalk Billy's, what used to be called, when we first met at what is now StoneBridge, Slug's University Restaurant. And in the upper level, we had evening services with Bob Wilcox, a Presbytery evangelist that sponsored us and helped us get going.
It was very dark. It was at night, and you could smell all the food around you, so it was hard to concentrate sometimes. No, but I just remember having a one-sheet bulletin and having, copied off music, and it was just a very simple service.
With overhead projector and transparencies, we had music. It sounds very simple, but the singing was very, spirit-filled, and it was really exciting.
And we were a lot younger then, so there's a lot of vibrancy.
It was good to see that church didn't depend on being large or being in a building. It really was a body of believers meeting together. It was a small body, but it was church.
I think Bob Wilcox said at that time the PCA had picked out several areas in the country they wanted to plant churches, and this is probably the 5th most exciting opportunity in the whole United States in terms of growth.
We knew this area was going to explode. It was just beginning to start about the time that we started meeting. I mean, these buildings were here, but across the lake there wasn't anything. Harris Boulevard was a 2-lane road. There wasn't much, but the plans the city had made were extreme. I mean, if you've seen what's happened in 20 years, we knew that was coming.
I remember a quote we had thought of a lot during those first few years. We said, attempt something so great that without God's help it is doomed to fail. And we just, we grew in our faith so much because we were having to rely on Him. There wasn't a budget of $100,000s of dollars and lots of staff. There was just us trying to follow God's will. And that was a very exciting time, and it really was a time to really grow in our faith.
For me, it was trying to invite somebody to a church in a restaurant named Slug's, and you're trying to say, come visit, and you meet your restaurant.
Try to find us.
Yeah, the name wasn't real attractive.
So this was the church in a box, right? So,
yeah.
So what was the box? What was in the box?
The box was a trailer that was parked in a storage area off of North Tryon. And there were 2 or 3 of us that had a truck. And we would get up early Sunday morning, if it was our turn, go to North Tryon, unlock the gate, get in there, get the truck, hook it up, and bring it down here and start unloading.
We would park there, and we had the old-fashioned audio-visual carts, and we would roll them here to go in there to set up. Nursery, music, audio-visual, any kind of props, welcome table, any of that kind of stuff. It's basically everything.
And then at the end, we'd roll everything, and everybody would help. Remember, all hands on deck, put it in, and then back to the storage place to seal it up. Church in a box.
Sunday was a full day because we got here early to set up and rehearse, and then afterwards we'd have to unpack, and that would take about an hour to unpack and pack up for the storage unit. So it was a long day, but it was very, very exciting.
UNCC turned out to be where we had a lot of different places we met, and we were here probably longer than anywhere else, I think, collectively. So we had a kind of a kickoff at the Cone Center, and we kind of had our grand opening, really, with people to the community. Says, here we are, come see us. And then we were only there for a few weeks. It was much larger than what we needed. So we ended up coming over here to Denny, and this was one of the rooms we had. This is where we met for worship. And from here we moved on to McInerney, and then we were there for some time.
There was a 10-year-old boy named Cody, and he told me I was a bad Sunday school teacher, and I was, and I got moved to nursery duty after that.
Which was your goal all along, right? So, that's great.
It didn't matter that it was on a campus. Felt like people could actually find us for once.
A church, even in the early church, wasn't a building. It was a gathering of people, God's people.
Church for us was never a building, and it couldn't be. We didn't have keys to it. The church was each person who came.
Yeah, well, here we are. I think the nail place is around the corner. So if you all know where Cabuto's is, which is kind of facing Harris Boulevard, we're not even close to that. We're exactly the opposite end of the parking lot. So if you were serious about worshiping, you'd kind of come and try to find us.
The significant thing about this location is this is where we were located when we became a particular church, which means that We were recognized by the Presbytery as an established church with its own governance, its own elders and deacons, which were ordained at that ordination ceremony that was held here. So that was a very, very big moment in our church's life.
It was constantly being remodeled as we were able to acquire a little bit more space, but we were always busting at the seams at this time. We had tons of kids, so there was always a problem where to put the kids.
One of the things was, remember, you should name where your location is, because where your location is, that, you know, University City Presbyterian, that's what you are, that's what you should do. So we didn't go for that. My choice was Agape Bible Fellowship, but that went out. That didn't even make the first round. So we decided on Cornerstone, and we came back. I mean, after a long weekend, and so we come back on Monday morning, and lo and behold, Cornerstone Church is opening in Concord, North Carolina. So we said, can't be Cornerstone, and it was University City Presbyterian Church.
We're at the Countryside Montessori School. This is where we met from spring of '95 through just before Christmas, when we moved into the new building on Prosperity Church Road.
We were transitioning from the shopping center mall behind Cabuto's. We were transitioning to where we are now on Prosperity Church Road. We had bought the land, had the plans for the building. The building was started.
So this was a temporary thing, very temporary. We knew it wasn't going to last long, but it was a good stopgap.
And we're about 150 or so. I don't know the exact numbers, but we were big enough that the support stuff, nursery rooms and all that other stuff, we needed some of that. And the building, they have chairs and tables, and so it made it a little bit easier. So the Lord provided, as He did all along the way.
We met in the gym, and it was not air conditioned, and it could get very, very warm in the summer, and we had some big fans to kind of keep everyone from dying of heat. They were very loud, and so it was a challenge to really focus on worship.
And we know a building is not a church. We know that. But when you kind of are sojourners, you really know it in kind of a special way, because every week it's not a place. And it's different. You're setting up, you're taking down. But the people, there's a constant, and what God's doing in that body is a constant.
It was a vision for God's work in this place, and we are still in this place. God calls people to a place, and our place is North Charlotte, and we need to make an impact here in North Charlotte.